Well, the very bad news for Donald Trump is that Rudy Giuliani has finally today learned to talk like a lawyer again. Today, for the first time in years, Rudy Giuliani did not sound like a hallucinating madman when he walked into the Fulton County Courthouse in Georgia to testify to a grand jury. He didn't sound like someone willing to tell any lie for Donald Trump. He didn't sound like someone ready to take any legal risks for Donald Trump. Not anymore. Not now that he has been formally declared a target of the grand jury's criminal investigation of exactly what Rudy Giuliani did for Donald Trump in Georgia. The Rudy Giuliani you are about to see is truly shocking now. But it is the way Rudy Giuliani often handled press questions when he was a federal prosecutor in Manhattan in the 1980s. Today, with Rudy Giuliani clinging to the wreckage of his legal career, with his law license suspended pending possible permanent disbarment, Rudy Giuliani found his lawyerly voice once again.
Lawmakers, did you lie to them?
We will not talk about this until the grand jury and grand juries, as I recall, a secret.
Do you believe President Trump is the ultimate target of this investigation?
I'm not going to comment on the grand jury investigation.
What do you think their ultimate goal is
I know
here?
more about it.
What are you expecting to talk about here today?
Well, they ask the questions and we'll see.
Will you be cooperative? I mean, your attorney in New York says he can't promise how responsive you'll be.
Goodbye.
Arriving at the courthouse at 8:30 a.m., before the doors were even unlocked, Rudy Giuliani showed no evidence of the health issues that his lawyer had told the judge made him physically incapable of doing what he did today, walking into that courtroom and testifying. The 78-year-old Rudy Giuliani showed no physical weakness and actually demonstrated more mental strength than we've seen in him in a very long time. Rudy Giuliani was asked, "Do you believe President Trump is the ultimate target of this investigation?" And he said, "I'm not going to comment." That should leave Donald Trump terrified tonight. Rudy Giuliani did not launch into a Giuliani rant about the grand jury going after his hero, Donald Trump, unfairly. Rudy Giuliani said the kind of thing people say when they are very afraid of what is going to happen to them in the grand jury room. And Donald Trump is very afraid tonight about what actually did happen in that grand jury room today. There is no law that prevents Rudy Giuliani from telling Donald Trump everything that was said in his 6 hours of testimony to the grand jury. But whatever summary of his testimony Rudy Giuliani might be giving Donald Trump tonight, possibly at this very moment, Donald Trump should not believe it. Rudy Giuliani entered the grand jury room alone, as all witnesses do, to face 23 grand jurors who already suspect him of criminal conduct. That's why he is a target of the grand jury's investigation. Public evidence seems to show that Rudy Giuliani did commit the crime of lying to Georgia government officials. He is doing exactly that with members of the Georgia legislature in this video.
There's overwhelming proof of fraud. It depends on you, and it depends on your determination of credibility. I don't have to be a genius to figure out that those votes are not legitimate votes. You don't put legitimate votes under a table.
No.
Wait until you throw the opposition out, and in the middle of the night count them. We would have to be fools to think that. So no need to push it any further, but there's more than ample evidence to conclude that this election was a sham. In my view, it was part of a concerted plan, because certain cities were picked in order to carry this out where they thought they could get away with it.
Those votes are not legitimate votes. All of that, everything he said, is a lie. All of it. Today, he was no doubt asked detailed questions about each sentence, possibly each word of each sentence that you just heard him speak. He was asked under oath today in the grand jury about everything he said on that video recording and other statements he made in Georgia and elsewhere. He couldn't claim attorney-client privilege and refuse to answer questions about what you just saw because that does not involve a conversation with his client at the time, Donald Trump. But he could have pleaded the Fifth Amendment and refused to answer questions about what we just heard him say because his answers could obviously implicate him in even more criminal conduct. If Rudy Giuliani played it tough the way Donald Trump no doubt wants him to, and refused to answer all questions by citing the Fifth Amendment the way Donald Trump did in a New York deposition last week 440 times, then why was Rudy Giuliani in the grand jury room for 6 hours? Donald Trump cannot be confident tonight that Rudy Giuliani did not give that grand jury, intentionally or not, some evidence that moved them closer to the biggest possible target of their investigation, Donald Trump. Here's what District Attorney Fani Willis said 2 weeks ago about the possibility of Donald Trump testifying to that grand jury.
How important is it that the special grand jury hears from Donald Trump directly?
I think that the special purpose grand jury needs to hear as much information from as many people that are willing to come and testify truthfully.
Georgia's Republican Governor Brian Kemp is now fighting a subpoena from Fani Willis to testify to the grand jury. The governor's motion today to quash the subpoena reveals for the first time that Governor Kemp was subpoenaed to give testimony tomorrow. Legal correspondence attached to the filing shows that District Attorney Fani Willis began negotiations with the governor's lawyer to obtain his testimony in the most cooperative possible way without a subpoena. But she changed her mind about that as the governor's lawyer, Brian McAvoy, became uncooperative. District Attorney Willis sent an email to the governor's lawyer when negotiations broke down, showing exactly how forceful a prosecutor she can be. Her email to the governor's lawyer said, in part, "The email you have sent is offensive and beneath an officer of the court. You are both wrong and confused. Let's discuss some of the ways you are wrong. This is not a politically motivated investigation. It is a criminal investigation, and often at the end of criminal investigations, people are cleared, and often they do go to prison. You repeatedly referring to it as a politically motivated investigation does not make it so. In fact, you repeating it so many times only proves you have become comfortable with being dishonest. There has not been one leak of the special purpose grand jury. In fact, much to my dismay, attorneys of witnesses have disclosed witnesses were summoned and spoken publicly. However, I understand they legally can do both. Please be advised, I have a great deal of respect for the position Governor Kemp holds and a fondness for his wife due to her advocacy for human trafficking victims. Due to those facts, I had directed my staff to bend over backwards to accommodate him. Now let's discuss your confusion. In criminal proceedings of this nature, proffers are not done by my office. We were giving Governor Kemp the courtesy of having his lawyer present for a taped interview to avoid him having to testify live. In any case, this offer is now off the table. He will be formally summoned to the special purpose grand jury, and you will be welcome to wait for him in my Ruby Bridge lobby while he testifies. Judge McBurney is the only one with authority to outline issues of evidence and privilege. The state will strictly comply to any order Judge McBurney sets for your client's testimony. I personally will question him before the special purpose grand jury. That is the prosecutor who might be the first prosecutor in history to subpoena a former president of the United States to testify to a grand jury. A grand jury that is investigating him. And you can be sure that if she does subpoena Donald Trump to testify to the grand jury, She personally will question him.